On the southeast section of San Francisco sits a piece of land most people don't think about. This is Hunters Point Shipyard. It helped win a war, powered a nuclear age, and today might be one of the most controversial pieces of land in America. Hunters Point spans over 600 acres of waterfront in the San Francisco Bayfront neighborhood.
The Navy ceased active operations in 1974 and permanently closed in 1994.
Today, it's a mix of abandoned structures, construction sites, and new housing developments. But to understand what this place is, you have to go back to what it was. The shipyard began in the late 1800s as a commercial repair facility. By the early 20th century, it had grown into one of the most important shipyards on the West Coast. Then came World War II. The United States took control in 1940 and transformed Hunters Point into a critical wartime engine. At its peak, tens of thousands of workers flooded the site, repairing and refitting ships as fast as they returned from battle. This was a place of urgency, scale, and power. After the war, Hunters Point entered a new era, one defined not by ships, but by radiation. The Navy established a radiological laboratory here, studying the effects of nuclear weapons. Ships exposed to atomic tests were brought back and examined on this very shoreline. Over time, radioactive materials, industrial chemicals, and hazardous waste accumulated across the site. Decades later, Hunters Point was designated under the Superfund program, a federal effort to clean up some of the most toxic land in the country. But cleaning a place like this is not simple.
It got worse. After working at the site for over 10 years, it was found that the contractor hired by the Navy to sample, characterize, and remediate the pollution did the work fraudulently.
The cleanup itself has come under scrutiny. Investigations revealed allegations of falsified soil testing data. Lawsuits followed, trust eroded, and the question became not just whether the site was contaminated, but whether it had ever truly been cleaned.
Regulators define adequately cleaned up based on the property's intended use. Residential requires more cleanup than industrial or warehouse. Institutional controls like deed restrictions or land use covenants limit how the property can be used in the future. They may require engineering controls like covering a polluted soil area with a parking lot. The contractor scandal significantly delayed redevelopment of the project. The Navy's retesting the areas where the fraudulent contractor performed radioactive cleanup. There's been public outcry that the scope of retesting should be more of the site. In 1992, the government included Hunters Point Shipyard in the base realignment and closure process. The Navy divided the site into parcels so they could manage the massive cleanup and property transfer to San Francisco, who would sell it to a developer. By dividing the shipyard site into smaller sections, the Navy could investigate, remediate, and transfer the land as each area met safety standards.
Despite the controversy, redevelopment is already underway. Plans include thousands of homes, parks, waterfront access, a vision of transformation, turning a former military site into a modern San Francisco neighborhood. Parcel A is for residential. It's been cleared and houses have been built there.
The Navy used this hilltop location of the shipyard for housing and administrative offices, so there's very little history of contamination here. The government's environmental agency found the site to be clean and released it to a developer in 2003 with no use restrictions or required pollution controls. Vertical construction of the residential homes began in 2012, with 350 homes hitting the market in 2014. Now we continue our tour of Hunters Point Naval Shipyard, exploring the historical Navy operations, primary pollutants, and planned primary occupancy of the various parcels. Parcel B was primarily used by the Navy for warehousing, metal shops, and battery storage. The resulting pollution was petroleum, PCBs, lead, and volatile organic compounds. Old Warehouse Building 123 was used for battery storage and was demolished in 2024, allowing access to the contaminated soil for cleanup. The goal is to redevelop into mixed-use research and development offices and labs. Now we look at the shipyard's Parcel C, an area of recent high concern due to elevated plutonium detections in the air. This was the heavy industrial area of the Navy shipyard for repairs, including the radiation decontamination of the World War II ships and other nuclear radiation research. Critical retesting and intensive soil removal is underway. A fun fact, Building 253, the 6-story glass tower, was the ordnance and optical shop. It was used to lift submarine periscopes into a vertical position for repair and calibration. The hope is that this area of Hunters Point Shipyard will be redeveloped into a light industrial area and possibly an art district. Hunters Point Shipyard, Parcel D1, includes where the ships were repaired at the docks, but also includes the gigantic, iconic Hunters Point gantry crane. The plan is to keep the crane as part of the redevelopment. It stands 450 feet tall and 730 feet long. It was originally designed to lift and swap out entire gun turrets on massive battleships, which could weigh over 1 million tons. In the late 1950s, Hunters Point gantry crane was used as part of Operation Skycatch. The crane was used to launch Polaris missiles and catch them in mid-air with overhead cables to prevent them from crashing into the bay. The pollution in this area includes petroleum fuels, heavy materials like lead from sandblasting ships, PCBs from electrical transformers, and volatile organic compounds from solvents. This area also includes plutonium-239 and cesium-137 from ship decontamination that were subject to nuclear blasts. This area also has the radium-226 that was used in luminous deck markers and gauges. This area will be part of the wharf district of the redevelopment. It'll include multi-use commercial, as well as some space as part of the 340-acre network of parks and trails planned for the shipyard. Because the Navy occupancy of Parcel D2 was primarily administrative, it was set up as a separate parcel with the hope it could be spun off quickly. It's subject to radiological retesting. Parcel G was carved out of D due to the high concentration of radiological experiment buildings here. This area is currently subject to active demolition with hazardous material removal for 6 research buildings expected to continue through June 2027. The southern section of the shipyard was kind of a dumping area with industrial landfill and waste oil storage. Methane gas, PCBs, arsenic, and mercury have been detected here, so it's subject to long-term monitoring, with the hope that this will be included as part of the open space and shoreline parks. The San Francisco Bay nearly surrounds the old shipyard, and this area has been called Parcel F. Monitoring has detected PCBs, copper, and heavy metals in the marine sediment. Dredging and capping with sand and rock over the sediment is scheduled to begin in 2027.
Just beyond the shipyard is Bayview Hunters Point, historically black community that's lived alongside the site for generations. For many residents, the concern are personal: health risks, environmental exposure, and a long history of being overlooked. Here, the story of Hunters Point isn't just about the land, it's about the people. Hunters Point Shipyard is a place of contradictions, a symbol of American industry and a reminder of consequences, a site of opportunity and uncertainty. The question isn't just what this place was,
but what this place will become. There are grand plans, with the opportunity for jobs, grocery stores, and shops. Heron's Head Park and Eco Center is a recent community development in the Hunters Point area, showing signs of rebirth of this entire area.